Hey guys, I just got back from my photo shoot for the charity calendar with the horses, hence the hair and the makeup. I had to get up very early this morning, so I'm a bit tired, but it was so much fun. It was an amazing day. The horses were beautiful, the people were lovely. I can't wait to see the pictures and I can't wait to show you guys. It's going to be awesome. But I'm doing my second vlog with my little Q&A session. So I've got a few more questions here that I'll be going through with you guys. Some of them are a bit long-winded, so I probably am not answering as many questions in this one. But and I'm only answering questions from 2 people because people sent in lots of questions, and as I said, they're a bit long-winded, the answers to these ones. So starting off, one of the questions from Tony was, if I could take one item back to the 50s with me, what would it be? I'd have to say my curling iron, simply just because I don't know how they used to do it back then with the hot rollers and everything. I'm totally hopeless with hot rollers or any rollers in general. I know that probably spoils the whole idea of me sitting around getting ready with, rollers in my hair, but I am really honestly just not coordinated enough to get the rolling right and then pin them in, and yeah, I'm totally hopeless. So would definitely have to be my curling iron, because otherwise I'd be burning myself and tying myself up in knots like a pretzel just trying to get the rollers in my hair. Tony's second question was, do I worry about what my tattoos will look like when I'm old and wrinkly? And definitely not, the answer is. I mean, my tattoos are only going to look old and wrinkly when I'm old and wrinkly, and by then I figure I won't be showing off as much skin, so I kind of don't really need to worry about it. Plus, I think we're going to end up having like a whole generation of tattooed old people, tattooing and having tattoos has become a lot more mainstream lately, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find anyone who doesn't have, at least one tiny little tattoo. So I really don't think it's going to be much of an issue. We're kind of all going to be old and wrinkly tattooed, so I don't think people are going to care. And not just that, but as far as my tattoos go, for me personally, I kind of liken my tattoos almost to photos. For me they're a way of remembering times or events or people in my life. So I mean, photos get old and fade and fray at the edges, so I'm not worried if my tattoos fade a little bit and get a bit wrinkly. One of Tony's other questions was, do I think that the 50s style culture can live past my generation, and do I think that maybe one day it could be replaced with another culture, something sort of around like the 80s, to the same sort of extent? I think 50s culture will definitely live on. I think it's going to become harder and harder in, the sort of commercial, mainstream, technological society that we are now living in, and it's only going to continue to advance. So I think it will possibly be harder, but I think if it's remained alive for this long, it's going to continue on. Especially as I see, just within the sort of Brisbane scene, I see more and more people, both young and old, who, come and experience it and just fall in love with it. I think just some people don't realise that it exists, so, once they find out and they experience it, they just totally fall in love with it. So yeah, I think that it will continue on. I know everyone in the Brisbane scene, loves it when new people are introduced to the scene and they come to appreciate it. And so we're always, always really happy to meet new people. And we're always pushing to not only just get it out there, but support the scene and keep it alive. So I do think it will continue on. As far as being replaced with something else, I would actually have to say not really. Especially not the 80s. Maybe other eras like the 30s and 40s. to some degree possibly. I mean, we're already sort of starting to see some resurgence of those eras in mainstream culture, particularly in fashion trends. You know, TV shows like Underbelly, I guess, are sort of helping that along. Whether a commitment to those eras would exist like it does for the 50s, I don't know. But I think the sort of common thread is that the sort of class, the elegance, the fashion, the effort that goes into appearance, particularly in those cultures, I think that's what makes them seem something special, you know, getting dressed up, putting in that effort, reminiscing the sort of simpler times. I think that's what sort of draws people to it in the first place. So yeah, you know, possibly 30s, 40s kind of culture could possibly sort of resurge, but I don't think something like the 80s would really. I mean, you know, you see trends and fashion and things like that coming back into the mainstream. It sort of goes in a cycle, and you know, suddenly 80s fashion or 80s hair will be back in. You know, the mullet, even like the girl mullet, came back for a little while there. But yeah, they always tend to fade out again. They never last very long. So yeah, that's that. I told you this was going to be a ramble. Now, I have two more questions, both from Mrs. BC. Her first question was, have I ever seen a ghost? The answer to that is yes. The house that I grew up in, when I lived with my mum, we had a little girl ghost there. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but my mum had been seeing her for a little while, but she didn't want to say anything to us because she didn't want to scare us. And one night, my sister had gone to bed and my mum and I were sitting up kind of late together watching TV. And I got up to go to the toilet, and our lounge room's at the front of the house, the toilet was at the back of the house, and sort of in between is this long hallway. And I was walking down the hallway towards the toilet, and suddenly in front of me I saw what looked like a little girl in very old-fashioned clothing. And it was weird because, you know, when you have been looking into the light and then you close your eyes and it's black but you get those little almost incandescent sort of spots? That's what it looked like she was made up of. It was quite weird. And I kind of didn't know what to do. I just kind of stopped and looked at her, and she didn't do anything either. We just kind of stood there, and then one minute she was there, the next minute she was gone, and I didn't know if I'd really seen anything at all or not, so I just went to the toilet, and I came back out into the lounge room, and I must have had a weird look on my face, because my mum said to me, "You just saw the little girl, didn't you?" And I was like, "What?" So then my mum told me that she'd seen her a few times as well, and we did see her from time to time, always at the end of the hallway, and yeah, one day we just never saw her again. So I don't know what the story is. It was nothing particularly scary. The only other weird thing, and I don't know if the two are related or not, but the clocks in my room always used to stop. I had about 3 different clocks in my room. I have no idea why, but I had 3 different clocks in my room, and they would always stop in the middle of the night, and they'd always stop at the same time. And you know, I thought that was pretty weird, and we'd put new batteries in and set it at the right time, like right before I went to sleep, and in the morning I'd wake up and the clock was stopped, and it was always stopped on the same time. So don't know if the two are related, but both kind of weird. So yes, short answer, yes, I have seen a ghost. The other question that Mrs. BC asked, which I have to say is one of my favourite questions with one of my favourite answers. Her question was, if I could write the story of my life, what would the happy ending be? Basically, I would become an internationally famous custom culture writer, and I would travel to Viva Las Vegas to cover the festival. I would meet a devastatingly handsome and jaw-droppingly rich, heavily tattooed, immaculately quiffed rockabilly guy. He would fall madly in love with me, and I would with him, of course. And then I would move to the States, and with all his rich man money, I would be able to fly us back and forth between the US and Australia to go to all of the rockabilly events and see all of my family and friends. The end. We live happily ever after. That sounds pretty good to me. I think I could settle for that. So that's it for today, guys. I am pretty tired. I have 2 weddings on this weekend. Can you believe it? 2 weddings in one weekend. I've never heard of that happening. And I was up very early this morning, so I'm hoping I have time to catch a little nap before I have to get ready for the first wedding. So thanks for watching. Keep sending your questions in. And that is my vlog for the month of October. Thanks guys, bye!